Hello and welcome. You're watching Money 9. I'm Sakshi Batra, and on this show, we discuss everything about markets and fundamentals to help you understand which way are the markets headed from here and what's the best strategy that you, as investors and traders, can adopt now. Joining in to help us with much more analysis of markets, I have with me a very special guest joining in. Mr. Siddharth Khemka joins in from Head of Research, Retail Research at Motilal Oswal Financial Services on this edition of Market Masterclass. Thank you very much, Mr. Khemka, for taking out time for this special discussion. Well, let me kickstart by asking you that from the last 6 odd months, we have constantly been arguing that this market is due for a big correction, that valuations look quite stretched. But with each passing day, no matter how small a dip, every dip was being bought into, and every time we saw higher levels on the Nifty and the Sensex, and the market valuations kept on getting richer. But last couple of sessions that we have seen a slight dip, on the back of several worries across the globe, but do you see signs of a bigger correction really coming? And how are you really approaching the markets at this point in time? Are you still riding the wave? Are you in the profit taking mode? How are you approaching it?
Yeah, thanks, Sakshi, and warm season's greeting to all the viewers. So we have been talking, as you said, about the various concerns in the market, and rightly so, given the sharp up move that we have seen in the recent months, as well as if you look at from the last 1.5 years, the kind of rally we have seen in the market. Obviously, there are certain factors on back of which the market is moving up. It's not all bubble as we speak, but yes, one needs to be grounded, keep an eye on valuations, and especially some pockets where we had seen very sharp spikes and some kind of very high premium or unjustifiable valuations. That is where we are seeing some correction. If you look at the liquidity last few days, specifically the FIs and DIs both have been net sellers, and despite that, market is holding on. Although the volatility has increased, but the strength in the market continues. And if you ask me what is the view on the market, as I said, we are being very specific in terms of sectors, in terms of stocks, and we are seeing the kind of rotation across sectors and also within sectors among the companies. So people are chasing stocks where there is some kind of valuation comfort. So you have to look at fundamentals, but you can't keep an eye off valuations for long. Although people who have been talking, so people like us who have been talking about valuation concerns have been going wrong for some time. But nonetheless, I think the overall view on the market continues to remain positive. The expectation on the overall economic growth for the next 2-3 years is pretty strong, and that should drive earnings growth. We have seen the kind of management commentaries, the kind of capacity utilization, the cost savings, the deleveraging of balance sheet that has happened in the last 1.5 years. All these, we believe, will only strengthen the corporate earnings growth cycle over the next few years, which should support the long-term positive trend in the market.
Right, absolutely. Sir, but I also wanted to point out a few stocks which have been on investors' radar, have created wealth, but are suddenly seeing some downticks coming in. Talk about a stock like IRCTC or a Tata Power or even an IEX or Tata Motors, for example. Suddenly something changed for all of these stocks, and they ran up in a sudden sharp move on the upside. And now we are seeing even lower circuits being clocked in on 1 or 2 consecutive days as well. How are you analyzing these kind of movements on these kind of stocks? And has anything fundamentally changed here?
Yeah, Sakshi. So you rightly mentioned the stock. So apart from IRCTC, we have official coverage on the rest of the names that you have taken. So that's the disclaimer here that we don't cover IRCTC. Having said that, if you look at some of these stocks, specifically IRCTC, IEX, these stocks have moved up. They have a very low float, and there had been a strong demand because of other certain changes in business dynamics which have become positive for them. So for example, the power shortage globally plus coal shortage in India has led to sharp increase in the cost as well as the demand has gone up because of the economic activity increasing. So IEX is seeing a lot more activity on its exchanges. The regulatory framework are supporting spot exchanges more and more, and they have a kind of market leader there. So a lot more interest in a platform like an IEX with a low float, so led to sharp rise in the share price. Similarly, the case with IRCTC, low float but opening up of the economy, more trains running, people moving out more out of their homes and wanting to go out, visit maybe their friends, families, or tourist locations, and that is where the demand we saw management commentaries coming from IRCTC as well.
Correct.
So there is a genuine fundamental change, but as I said, because of the imbalance in demand and supply, the stock price have moved up in a way artificially, I can say, or sharply, which led to high valuation. And these valuations are not justifiable if we look at the earnings growth trajectory for some of them. So they had to come down and cool off. If someone is looking at a long-term investment, I think one needs to wait for this volatility, the fight between bulls and bears, at least the short-term traders, the shakeout to happen, and then I think there is the view on these stocks are very positive. Some of the other stocks, for example, Tata Motors, a large cap stock like Tata Motors, moving more than 50% in 1 week, 2 weeks, really goes to show the kind of liquidity strength that we have in the market. Again, an under-owned stock, mostly led by institutions. I don't think retail can move a stock like Tata Motors. And the view remains positive. I think the way the company is talking about the growth in the EV space, they also did a kind of value unlocking of the EV passenger vehicle business, which gives a kind of benchmark valuation to the EV business. So far, it was the valuation at which they're raising the funds in the EV business is much higher than what the street was expecting, and that is why we saw the kind of run up in the stock post the deal with TPG to raise money in that stock. So again, given the sharp run up, maybe some consolidation in the near term, but I would say we are still positive on these stocks. Any consolidation dip would be a good opportunity to buy stocks like Tata Power, Tata Motors, and IEX.
Okay. Also, talking about a few sectors, from the 2020 lows, there have been two sectors that actually emerged as the first winners. Of course, IT and then pharma also. Now, while IT continued to maintain its pole position even after the kind of first wave or the second wave kind of led rally, I cannot say the same thing about pharmaceuticals as a sector per se. While IT has given like 22% of a return, pharma index has just moved up about 1.5-2%. So how does one really look at the pharma story from a long-term perspective? Does it merit any attention? Of course, we did see stocks like Sun Pharma really showing some upside after a long haul. Your thoughts here on how should one really look at these two sectors now?
Yeah, Sakshi. So if you look at IT, I think market is rewarding where the growth is, and we have seen consistent earnings delivery from the IT pack, and the outlook also remains pretty strong. So if you see a lot of the IT results, at least they are among the first ones to start coming out with numbers, and they have already come out. So bearing TCS, which marginally disappointed in terms of margins, but if you look at commentary right from TCS, Infosys, and some of the tier 2 mid-cap IT companies, the outlook is pretty strong. They are at record deal wins. The growth outlook is pretty strong. The hiring is pretty robust. And if you look at the margins that they are now, so there is some pressure because of the high margin of last year, but they are pretty steady. And I think the valuations are still comfortable. That is a sector we believe that because of the digitization, the move to cloud computing, digital environment, a lot more demand would continue to be there. So there is with the strong growth, this sector continues to do well. We like Infosys, which is kind of leader in the tier 1 in terms of growth right now, and valuation is still at a discount to TCS, followed by HCL Tech and Tech Mahindra. Among the mid-cap IT, we like L&T Infotech, although the valuations are high and right now we have a neutral rating. But we like some of the other stocks like Mindtree, we like Mphasis, and we like Zensar within the mid-cap IT space. Now coming to the healthcare space, yes, if you look at the overall earnings trajectory, that has come under pressure in the recent quarters, and they were also in a huge limelight after the pandemic, where the demand shot up, the regulatory environment, the global regulatory environment kind of cooled off, and we started seeing a lot more FDA approvals for new plants, for new products. But somewhere that growth is now moderating, and after 7 quarters of healthy performance, this quarter we are expecting a kind of flattish growth on a Y-on-Y basis, and this is on back of increased competitive pressure in US, which has resulted in some kind of pricing pressure, plus the new launches, the pace of new launches, and the COVID related offtake which was there, which is now again cooling off, is likely to impact the growth in this quarter. So having said that, what is the outlook? Yes, some of the stocks had run up sharply, and now we are seeing some kind of moderation in the overall space. There are 2 segments in the pharma space. One is the domestic, and one are the global, the exports focused companies, and that is where I think domestic players are doing much better. Within that space, I think there are few significant outperformers. For example, Divi's is a player which is in the CRAM space, has been a far outperformer and continues to report strong numbers. So as I said in the beginning, you need to be very selective. For a long-term view of healthcare, I think will bounce back, things will improve. The overall focus globally on the overall healthcare space has drastically changed post the pandemic, be it your personal spending, be it the government spending, and I think the government's spending will far outpace globally, especially in some of the third world countries where the healthcare infrastructure is being pretty low. So I think Indian companies will benefit out of that. A lot of these would be export oriented. Plus, there is a new theme that is coming up specifically in the API space, which is also benefiting out of the China Plus One strategy, where the global innovators are now wanting to kind of, you can say, diversify their supply chain and add a large supplier out of China. So although we can't outpace China, but even if we meet some of these demands from the global innovators, our growth will be pretty strong. And if you look at the commentaries from all these managements, they are on a consistent capex mode, and they are still saying that the kind of demand outlook that they are seeing from their buyers, they are still expecting to put up new plants which will kind of support the growth for next to 3 years. So that is where you have a lot of these API players in India, some of the intermediaries, some of the specialty chemicals companies, which are benefiting hugely, immensely from this growth. So I think you have to be selective. The story from the export-focused companies earlier to now the CRAMS and APIs would be the mainstay.
Okay. Also, sir, just last 1 or 2 questions. Also about the banking space now. Do you think that after the HDFC Bank results came out, has that changed the sentiments, or can that change the sentiments for financials at large now? Because they have been largely underperformers in the kind of bull rally that we have seen. Does anything change for this sector, and are you focused on any particular segment?
So, Sakshi, if you look at the banking space, they are very closely linked to the economic growth, and we saw the second wave in the first quarter of the calendar year, and some spillover in the second quarter. So basically, the first quarter of the financial year, we saw some impact and lockdowns, and impact again coming back to the retail, SMEs, MSME segment, which kind of impacted the banking sector as well. But we have seen the kind of unlocking and the kind of pent-up demand and rebound that the economy has seen, and also the scare of third wave has mostly now kind of gone away. The pace of vaccination is helping. So I think the banking space, the financials, the larger the BFSI space has been an underperformer, and this is where value is still there. Now the question of growth, it looks like with the economic growth they will obviously benefit, and a lot of them will start reporting better numbers. We saw that in HDFC Bank. They were the worst impacted because of the retail segment getting impacted by the pandemic. Now things are improving. So overall banking space, I think it's a good time to add names in the current environment. One space which is a very large market cap and still not performed in the market. So we like some of the private banks like ICICI. Within the PSUs is a space which we believe will do very well. Not only the PSU banks, but the larger PSU space. The government's focus on divestment, the government's focus on the government spending has only helped improve efficiencies of some of these PSUs. Again, right. PSU as a space offers value, has high dividend yield, and there's no corporate governance issues, and a lot of them are the core economic or core industries related sectors, be it the commodities, be it power, be it banking. And this is a space which we believe is a kind of the most beneficiary if we see the kind of economic growth that we expect. So that is a space that we like. Within PSUs, we like SBI in the banking space, and within the broader PSUs, there are some of the capital goods companies, some of the power sector players, some of the commodities. I think that would also do well.
Okay, understood that. Well, on that note, thank you so much, Mr. Khemka, for sharing all these wonderful insights about markets and the way forward that we can expect the benchmark indices and these several sectors to really perform, so that all the investors who are still invested in can take the best decisions for their portfolios at this juncture as well. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure having you with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, and with that, we wrap up this edition of Market Masterclass for you. But a whole lot of exciting content on markets and personal finance is awaiting you. So stay tuned with us onto Money9's platform. And for that, you need to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also stick with us via our social media handles and visit our website, money9.com. Many thanks for tuning into this one.